The Man with the Golden Gun is now 50 years old and remains one of the most entertaining entries in the series. We gathered to discuss why we love the film so much, and it was great to have so many of you contribute with your thoughts. Master Toddy was one of the students at Hip's karate school, and he tells us about the filming of those scenes.
So, the karate school, you would have been one of the students who would have watched Roger Moore fight Chula. Is that right?
Chula!
Chula! Chula!
Chula!
Right.
A lovely man, you know, really nice guy. The only one there with his wife.
Oh, right. Okay.
Oh, can you just do the Chula thing? Because for years, that has been like in my head. I say that randomly throughout the day. And this is someone who actually said it in the movie.
You know, we have to sit there and stay on Chula. So we all Chula, Chula, Chula. Every time Chula do something, I said Chula, yeah, Chula. And you know, and when Chula lost to Roger Moore, and we like, oh, and he jumped through the window, and that's a part. I tell you, a small part, but not a lot of people know. I want to be involved in the James Bond so much. So Roger Moore had to fight Chula, and suddenly Chula makes a mistake, and Roger Moore hit him, and then jumped through the window. And then I asked the stuntman Roger Moore, can you do me a favor? Can I jump before Roger Moore jump? I want to test out for you.
Yeah.
So they said, okay. And when you jump down, it's all rock. It's you know, like it's not concrete, it's all rock, it's a road. It's a road. So they dig out and put the mattress. In that time, we don't have tambourine or anything. We have a real mattress, the bed mattress. You understand?
Yeah.
So they dig enough to put the bed mattress on. And then I looked down and said, oh, yeah, nice. No problem. So he said, okay, you ready? I said, yes, sir, I'm ready, you know. I said, nobody know because it's supposed to be the stuntman Roger Moore do it. It's not me, but I'm, you know, the tester. Because I'm my leg very strong. I jump very high. I jump very far. I run the whole life. Went through the window where Roger Moore was supposed to be. I hit the window so hard, and I flew past the mattress.
Oh no!
Oh my God! On the way, like, oh shit! I went into drop myself down on the rock. Oh, my elbow bleeding everywhere. Oh man! So I remember that stuntman Roger Moore came in. You want to go hospital, and then I heard this. Roger Moore come. Oh, he cannot be in the movie anymore. I jump up so hard. No, I'm nothing wrong with me. Nothing wrong with me because I want to be in a movie, you know. Yeah. I don't want to be lose out. So, but man, I hurt myself so bad, and never do it again.
Oh,
there that goes.
Right, allies, Gibson. No, I'm only joking.
Soda or ginger ale?
Ginger ale.
Ê, 哎，给我打响了！ Hey, 哎， 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 hey, 哎
He couldn't have missed me tonight. Instead, he hit some chap coming out of a club. I got quite a shock when I saw who it was.
I should think you did.
Our missing solar energy expert, Gibson.
Yes, Gibson.
There's of course, famously, Q wasn't in Live and Let Die, so we get him back, and all he does is get annoyed, and M absolutely hates him, doesn't he?
M hates everyone.
Rates him the whole film.
So if I heard correctly, Scaramanga got away.
Yes, sir.
The car that sprouted wings.
Oh, that's perfectly feasible, sir. As a matter of fact, we're working on one now.
Oh, Q, shut up.
The thing that again so original and creative. The ship, HMS Elizabeth.
Oh yeah.
Being the base.
On our left is the wreckage of the famous liner Queen Elizabeth, which sank here under mysterious circumstances in 1971.
You won't see that, and the fact that they built that whole set is just astonishing.
Good evening, sir. Would you follow me, please?
Was it Chris Distan who was telling us that there's one shot, a tracking shot of it, where you see, and they spent weeks and weeks building that whole set just for like this shot, because they could have just filmed it piece by piece, couldn't they? But to just get that thing to make you see that this is vast and we're spending lots of money on it. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But the main ally is J.W. Pepper. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bob, did you say, Bob, that I suppose you wouldn't really understand what order it was in, but so you couldn't really remember that? Oh wow, they brought this guy back. You would appreciate that this is his second Bond film?
No, but it was obviously just a character. I mean, obviously you see him in the car showroom in the car waiting for. That's where you see. But it didn't mean anything to me that he'd come back. That obviously he then knew who he was. You're this English Secret Service from England. It's even servant from England, and you probably knew he knew him there.
Yes,
because he then rolls his eyes and he says, "Oh, not you." That's the only thing. There is no other link. You didn't have to know that he was in the previous film to enjoy the scenes with him in.
How about demonstration, boy?
Certainly, sir.
I think that was a perfect scene with him being thrown about in the car.
Yeah, I can understand that Lewis Gilbert said, after Spy Who Loved Me, we had thousands of letters from people wanting to have Jaws back because he was such a large and life character. Okay, brilliant, makes perfect sense. I don't understand why Pepper's in this picture. It makes no sense to me. I know it's a celebration, and I will celebrate the fact that he had to choose his own wardrobe. He was asked to go and just pick the loudest shirts he could possibly find from this particular Sears and Roebuck, I think it was, and he had to go off and pick all that. So he came and flew out with, and they said, "Wow, these are way louder than we thought you were going to choose," and brilliant for the idea of the sheriff on holiday.
Now I know you.
Oh no!
You're that secret agent. That English secret agent from England.
Well, I still have no idea why he's in the film. It doesn't make sense.
Let's be honest, chaps. J.W. Pepper is the superfluous Pepper. Quite frankly. I do agree with John on that, as I love his character for the right reasons in Live and Let Die, but in this film, it doesn't work for me, quite frankly. And the best thing is when that elephant shoves him in the river.
I come in as a defender because I love him in this film.
Yes, Steve.
Yes. It's funny because
celebration.
As a kid, I loved him, and as a kid, I loved Smokey and the Bandit, and I loved the Cannonball Run. And I assumed in my mind that they'd included this character because of those kind of characters being very popular in those Burt Reynolds films. But those Burt Reynolds films came years later.
They did, yeah.
I think Bond was ahead of its time, unless Bob or John can think of a big American film that had characters like that before. Then I think Bond maybe set a trend, and then the Burt Reynolds films went with it and had similar kinds of sheriffs in there. In those films, 77 was Smokey and the Bandit, 81 was Cannonball Run.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have had, and even Dukes of Hazzard was after,
way later.
It was way later. So you had the Roscoe character, so that would have been way later. The only time they've ever done it really in a similar exercise was in Diamonds. So you have the police sheriff from Diamonds who then turns up as the same guy very clearly, but not the same character in Louisiana on the boat on the bank as the boat just sped through the whole thing. But yeah, this larger than life character clearly worked for Live and Let Die, but I just felt that there was another character which could have maybe done the job in a slightly different way without having to bring him back. But I just found it odd that all these people
because if you need him to come back, so you get the line, "You're that agent, that British secret agent."
That English secret
I
agent.
know you.
England.
On whose
side is the best one?
Then I went, and I think it was Harry. You said earlier you go through a phase where you think you need to be cooler about films and whatever. So I got to, when I was into Bond in my 20s, and I would have thought, oh God, he's cringeworthy. Why is he in it? And then I got to a certain age, which some of you guys haven't got to yet. But when you get to a certain age, although John, you're definitely
I have clearly, but you lot haven't.
You're on the next cycle of going back against it, aren't you?
That's it.
Yeah, I just stopped taking myself and everything so seriously. I think the point as well that the Daniel Craig films, particularly the last one, have been so damn miserable. I'll do anything for a bit of fun in a Bond film.
Yeah.
And now, when I watched it the other day, I was chuckling, and I'm there with Lily. She's 6 and she's laughing, and I'm thinking, this is great. It is what it is, and I love him rolling around in the back of the car after the stuff. Yeah. I'm in for it all. I'm in for fun. I need fun.
I've never done that before.
Neither have I, actually.
I don't think anyone can really argue that it's feasible for him to be there.
No.
We can all accept that it's totally ridiculous for him to be there.
But this is the point, though.
So now what? What do you do from that after we've sorted that? Now let's have fun. Let's enjoy it.
Yeah, I love it though. Like it's crazy. There should be no way that it should be there. I'm with Steve. This is much better than Live and Let Die. 100% better, because this is like getting into the actual character of JW.
It's an arc. Yeah.
We don't know about Maybell. We know where he goes on holiday. We know what shirts he wears. We know that he pulls his socks up. But one thing I would say is that, again, not a criticism of the film, just an observation. The allies in this film are pretty useless. Like, M is particularly exasperated with Q all the way through. You have that, is he called Professor Fraser, who gets really excited about stuff, but then he doesn't get...
Really? Oh, that's right, yeah.
Fascinating character.
It won't take me long to check out Gibson's efficiency claim. Now, this is really exciting. Now, may I see it, Lieutenant?
He showed it to me at the bar and replaced it in his pocket. And after he was shot, it wasn't there. I looked.
Gentlemen, I congratulate you. Instead of getting our hands on a perfected Solex, we're left with a useless corpse and no leads.
You get the guy from Fawlty Towers, Colthorpe, as well.
Yeah.
But then, and then you get Lieutenant Hip, who actually is a really nice chap, but doesn't do anything correct throughout the whole film. So in Sheriff J.W. Pepper's defense, he goes along and goes on a car ride with Roger. He's the only ally who actually does something right throughout the whole film.
What I will defend with Sheriff JW in this scene is if it hadn't have been for him on holiday, we wouldn't have had the barrel roll, we wouldn't have had all of those wonderful elements that we love about this film are integral to his character. So I would defend him for that. The thing is, though, on the back of what John has just said, he ends up getting arrested.
You stay put, boy. This is my department. Glad to see you boys on the ball.
And his wallet is so long. His wallet is so long.
Yeah.
It's like,
that's funny.
What idea are you trying to show? Because you've got about 20,000 of the buggers. And he ends up getting arrested. And he's like, hey, give me my wallet back. And he's like,
Sheriff J.W. Pepper, Louisiana State Police. Here's my identification. This is Law Enforcement Association, American Legion. Me and my partner here, we're on a secret mission. Hey, what the hell you doing? Hey, give me my wallet back.
I mean, he's almost as useless as every other ally, but at least he has some part to play. So I will agree.
I love it. And he's got so many quotable lines. I mean, I know that a lot of them are racist, basically, but like just some of the stuff he says is just
Henry Kissinger.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Take these goddamn bracelets off. I'm going to sue you for false arrest. Police brutality. I got connections. I'm going to get the FBI on your ass, the CIA. God damn it, I'm going to get Henry Kissinger. Now look at me when I'm talking to you, boy. What's the matter? Ain't none of you portheads ever seen an airplane before?
And we know he's a Democrat now as well, don't we?
Yeah.
Oh, look, J.W. I just gotta have me one of those cute little elephants.
Elephant? They're Democrats, Maybell.
Well, yes, surprisingly. And he'd be, that let's go get him, boy. That's once he realizes and he gives him the elbow and Bond looks at him as if to go, don't do that, and they drive off. You're not thinking of, I sure am.
Doing an American accent. What is going on in this film?
Yeah.
Brilliant. What's interesting, though, I've only just thought about this. This is really not that interesting, but of course, Live and Let Die, he thinks, like, Bond is, I can't stand this idiot. Who is this guy? And he's like a hindrance to JW, isn't it? He's chasing him and everything.
Yeah.
He's ruining his hometown. And then Bond is just dismissive of him, doesn't know who he is. But then when he sees him in a holiday, it's like he's really happy to see Bond.
Because we don't know the whole him and Maybell backstory. The fact that he's unlikely to have booked this holiday on his own metal. He'd be in Florida. Or somewhere of that nature. He'd be fishing somewhere, but she says, I want to go and get here and I want to do that. And you go, oh, for God's sake.
Let's get Rob to write a book about it, I think.
Yeah, now all of a sudden there's been some excitement turned up.
Exactly.
A great linking story between Live and Let Die and with the Golden Gun.
Yeah, that's it. That's what
she went to get those little old elephants, didn't she?
Little old elephants. I just got to get me one of them.
We're a Democrat, maybe.
I tell you, we need to see who does the best JW impression. Elephants, they're Democrats, Maybell.
Yeah.
Honestly, but I tell you, he probably has one of the most quotable lines because whenever I'm driving, if you're behind someone who's doing 20 mile an hour less than the speed limit, push that pedal, boy, and then it always goes through your head. It's great. So.
You pony heads never seen an airplane before?
Pony heads, yeah.
Look at me when I'm talking to you.
Oh,
Chris, please.
No complaints from me. He's like you say, you give the people what they want, which is more JW. So of course you bring him back for the next one. The logic of having him in, on holiday and I'm not going to question it. It is like Hugh said, it's that without that you don't get everything else that follows on it, and he's endlessly quotable, and it's again fun. And there's moments where Roger's like. He plays up with him, and it's just another layer of silliness. And I think the film is probably better for it because it is just, fun. I love it. It's a great character because it's it's laughing at him but with him at the same time.
I mean, this run of scenes. So you start with the sumo statues. I mean, what on earth? You've got that genius.
A pleasant evening.
take Mr. Bond to school. What on earth is going on there?
Take Mr. Bond to school.
Yeah.
Take Mr. Bond to school.
Heaven.
Definitely heaven.
Nieces taking over Bond, the bowing, Chula. And then the chase on the river, Elephant Boy, and you think this is absolutely ridiculous madness. What is going on? I'm loving it. And then J.W. Pepper appears, and you're like,
Elephant, real elephant. 60 baht. You are a very handsome man, 40 baht. For you, mister, 20 baht.
I'll tell you what, Sonny, I'll give you 20,000 baht if you can make this heap go any faster.
20,000 baht.
I'm afraid I have to owe you.
Bloody tourist. 20,000 baht.
Goddamn little brown water hog!
Oh, what's the matter, J.W., huh?
You just try that in my bayou, boy! I'd hold your ass!
and you've got a flying car. I don't think you'll ever get a half an hour of any Bond film as funny and as entertaining. You won't. I'm sorry.
And it's out there now in the history of cinema. It's been added to the history of cinema. And we're so much better for it.
It's the Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds of James Bond films. It really is. It's so psychedelic.
And then after all that, you get the flying car.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Chitty chitty bang bang, yeah.
I have to say, I think I've just remembered the best line of JW from this film. If you got your goddamn porty heads out of them pajamas, you wouldn't be late for work. I'm sorry, but yeah, that's the best line.
Sorry, Kieran, but you're now loving these quotes. And a minute
You
ago,
are.
Yeah. Do you know
I've stayed
what?
silent during this.
Steve, John, I think you may have converted me.
Brilliant.
He's class, honestly. He's never... I went through that stage of being a bit snobby about films and all the rest of it. JW always had my heart. I never went through a stage of ever dismissing JW.
He's a great leveler.
How can you resist laughing? I don't know. How can anyone how can anyone watch his scenes with a straight face?
Yeah.
Surely not possible.
And the fact he turns up in Superman 2, I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same character, practically, yeah.
You won't beat these films. You really won't.
Do you reckon there's an outside chance he could have appeared in A View to a Kill? There's an outside chance they could have made it work instead of that sheriff.
Instead of Dick Tracy, yeah.
But real restraint. The show, such restraint, so good.
Yeah. Elephant Boy. You fan of that scene?
Yeah.
Well, so is he.
Yeah.
Now that he's had a new lease of life, God love him.
Yeah.
It is one of those. It's another funny thing. Roger always hated it because of his later contribution to the world of looking after children. But the idea of, well, look, I'll give you 20,000 baht, you make this thing go any faster. He flicks the switch. 20,000 baht, I have to owe you, and pushes him into. It's a funny moment,
Yes.
Yeah.
If it had been a dog that he'd thrown in the water, the cinema would have been in uproar, and the Klong very clearly would have had another dead dog in it. It was a bit rough, that Klong, by all accounts, but it's still hugely entertaining. The boat chase is terrific, great fun.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I knew it! You porty heads has no more idea of traffic control than a goonie bird.
It's just echoes a time where I would love to have worked in films then, because you could just do stuff. You want a kid to throw him in the river, just go and find us a kid, audition some kids. He's great. He's really good, this kid. We'll get him. He'll do it. Now push him in the river. I mean, now you'd have to go through layers of bureaucracy, probably understandably, because you could get dysentery in the river. But you know what I mean? It's just those days, it was just, let's just do it. We can just do stuff. It's the same working in TV. We have to, health and safety.
Yeah.
Rightly. is very, very important. But I think in those days, it was probably a lot more fun.
I mean, it's hilarious to think that we managed to track him down and speak to him, and that John was on that episode as well. I think the funniest thing about that he said was because he obviously couldn't speak English, and he had a American guy with him to translate from Thai. But the funniest thing we showed him a picture of. Can you recall this guy of J.W. Pepper? And he's like, no,
nope, never saw it.
No. And then. But he remembers Nick Nack Hervey was on the scene. He goes,
Get your cotton picking slaws out of my pants, you know? Boy, you is ugly.
JW, where are you?
So, I just woke up this morning and I totally forgot about one other thing about old Bond movies that will never come back. There's just one other thing that I can't believe I forgot about this, but it stands out like a sore thumb. And that is one character who is up there with all the Marx Brothers, the Three Stooges, Charlie Chaplin, Laurel and Hardy, the brilliant, wonderful, creative, unique individual that he is, Sergeant J.W. Pepper! Bless him. We'll miss him terribly.
All right, good night. Don't panic.
Who's that?
It's headquarters.
Let me talk to him. Hello, this is Chef J.W. Pepper, Louisiana State Police. Now, you call my wife at the Near Eye Hotel and tell her I'm on a mission. I've been deputized, right?
Right.
So what to say, or perhaps more appropriately, what not to say about The Man with the Golden Gun. This has been a film that has always entertained me. It was one that we used to love watching as kids. It's one that we look back on very fondly now. When we talk to our older brother James, it's perhaps his favourite. And I think it's one that I can understand a bit of the polarisation. Perhaps those more modern audiences or audiences who are watching it now for the first time, perhaps it doesn't translate as well. But I do still think that there's so much in there to be enjoyed. I think if we look at the story, perhaps that might be a sticking point for some people. And in our review, which is well worth listening to, we discussed the idea that maybe if it was perhaps a bit more a kind of cat and mouse between Scaramanga and Bond, that might have been a tighter plot. Don't know how that would have looked in terms of being a 2-hour film. And obviously there was this solar energy thing going on at the time, and so as Bond often has done, it kind of leans into the zeitgeist, or whatever you want to call it, of the time. We really do get some of the most incredible imagery and characters, as is so often the case in Guy Hamilton's films, in the whole Bond series. If we look at the Bond women, the Bond girls to start with, I think Andrea Randers is a really good character, brilliantly played by Maud Adams, obviously in her first role in a Bond film. I think it's a really good character. I think the idea of Scaramanga's mistress, kept woman, being the one to send the bullet to Bond in order for her to be freed is a really good story idea. I really like that. Perhaps it could have been explored a bit more, and her not being killed. But there is a sort of tragedy and there's a really sad element and emotion to it that I think is down to the writing, but also the performance of Maud Adams. And in fact, it perhaps is somewhat reminiscent, or I should say Skyfall brings back some of that with the character of Severine, in that somebody who's asked Bond, a woman, who is, under the control and influence of the main villain, a very scary villain in different ways. Silver and Scaramanga are different to each other, but has asked Bond for his help in releasing them from that. And in both cases, ultimately, he was not able to. So I do think that's really interesting. Perhaps the shower scene does feel a little bit much maybe now, but yeah, she's great. Goodnight comes in for a rough ride, but I think she's an entertaining character. Perhaps some of the problems come a bit later on, particularly her in a bikini and leaning backwards and her bum hitting the controls for the solar panel for the laser and such. But I think Britt Ekland gives a good, she's game, she's up for it. She's up for the sort of entertaining aspect, up for that sort of that dual thing of she's almost a little bit smitten with Bond, and therefore that brings out the frustration and anger that we don't often see so starkly. But yeah, I enjoy Goodnight, and it's a different kind of Bond girl to what we've seen before and since. And then Nick Nack, I mean, what an extraordinary character. To call him a henchman is incorrect, in my opinion. I think he's kind of Scaramanga's sidekick, almost. But his kind of loyalties are questioned at times, and whether he says, oh, does this be mine if you kill him, or all the way around. That character of Nick Nack and the portrayal by Hervé Villechaize will, of course, live long in the memory. That's the sort of character that Guy Hamilton seems to be able to put across in his films that many non-Bond fans know about, and obviously him returning in the game GoldenEye will have helped with that. Moving on to Scaramanga, and really, he is, I would understand and perhaps agree with the idea that he is the film's best point. Such a good portrayal. Again, I've spoken about this recently, that the kind of modern action film, Bond film, and that they want to kind of portray the villain as some crazed madman who's only interested in chaos and death and all that. And obviously there is an element of that to Scaramanga, but he is obviously this incredible marksman who sees so much of himself in Bond. And so that kind of, that conflict within him and between them is intriguing. And as I say, so brilliantly played by Christopher Lee. One of the most iconic, possibly the best, joint best Bond villain that we've seen in film. So that's just an incredibly strong element. And Roger comes in for maybe a bit of criticism for his performance in this, not quite knowing how he's pitching it, what tone. And I do think it some of those darker moments, the way he treats Andrea Anders in that scene in the hotel room and shower, is a bit different to what we saw in Live and Let Die, and then perhaps a little bit different to what we then see in The Spy Who Loved Me. But he's part of what makes it a really enjoyable and entertaining film for so many people. For example, my brother James, I think Roger would be his favourite, and he just loves what Roger is like in a film such as this. And going back to him and Scaramanga, the great scene at the dinner table, and the mushrooms and such, the idea that Bond is sort of being tested, and Scaramanga is kind of saying, look, you could earn millions if you did something like me, you're good enough. But Bond, as we saw parodied in The Trip, when I kill for Queen and country, and he's dedicated to the role. He's solely focused on the role of being a 00 agent and getting the mission done. And I think he portrays that scene in particular very effectively. So ultimately, it's an incredibly entertaining film. I love watching it. It's different to other Bond films. I think it's got a lot of the Guy Hamilton tropes. I think perhaps you could see that there was a bit of a rush to get it out after Live and Let Die, and that was the last time that there was a year gap. And then there was obviously a 3-year gap between this and The Spy Who Loved Me. But there's so much going for this film, as I've said, about the cast and the characters, the music. I love John Barry's score, and thanks to Q the Music, I really love Lulu's song. The settings, Thailand, it looks so beautiful, places that people wouldn't have seen at that time. I hadn't seen growing up, and so, I learned of these places through Bond films, such as this. There's so much going for it. I love watching it. I understand some of the criticisms, but ultimately for me, it will always be one that I will love watching with friends and family alike.
Good morning. How's the water?
Why don't you come in and find out?
Sounds very tempting, Miss...
To me.
Really? Well, there's only one small problem. I have no swimming trunks.
Neither have I.
In due time, I shall be laid to rest here in my mausoleum after a useful, happy, long life.
Our 50th anniversary celebration of The Man with the Golden Gun continues with a look at the stunts and the incredible music from John Barry.